Israel is a country that has no place on our land. We must remove that country because it constitutes a security, military, and political catastrophe to the Arab and Islamic nation and must be finished. We are not ashamed to say this with full force. We must teach Israel a lesson, and we will do this again and again. The Alaska flood is just the first time, and there will be a second, a third, a fourth, because we have the determination, the resolve, and the capabilities to fight. The occupation must come to an end.
Occupation where? In the Gaza Strip?
No, I am talking about all the Palestinian lands.
Does that mean the annihilation of Israel?
Yes, of course. The existence of Israel is what causes all that pain, blood, and tears. It is Israel, not us. We are the victims of the occupation, period. Therefore, nobody should blame us for the things we do. On October 7th, October 10th, October 1 million, everything we do is justified.
Well, during those 20 years, while we were mastering the art of hunting terrorism, hunting terrorists in mountains in Pakistan and Afghanistan, what were our global power competitors doing? Was Russia engaged in the global war on terror? Was China involved in the global war on terror? So all the hundreds of billions of dollars that we spent in that war, we spent in a war that was a giant distraction for us that gave our closest near-peer competitors 20 years to invest their money and grow to become a larger threat than we were even aware they were becoming, right? And then China, all of a sudden, China has multiple aircraft carriers and they're launching aircraft from aircraft carriers and they can project power into the South Asian seas. That's insane, right? All of a sudden, like the Russian Federation is in close relationships with the Chinese and the Syrians and the North Koreans and the Iranians. How do we just wake up to this?
And as concerns grow over the conflict consuming the entire region, Hezbollah's Hassan Nasrallah speaking publicly for the first time since the war began. The leader of the powerful Lebanese militia said all options were, quote, on the table, but stopped short of calling to expand the war to a second front.
And as we repeatedly warn, these images are very hard to watch.
We are going full steam ahead, declared Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and he means it. A strike after Israeli strike punishes the people of Gaza.
With the Israeli military surrounding Gaza City, the face-to-face combat with Hamas militants, and the airstrike near one of the largest hospitals in Gaza. Israel tonight says they were targeting Hamas, that Hamas was using an ambulance to carry weapons and fighters. Several civilians were killed. Tonight, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken back in Israel, saying Israel has the right to defend itself, but pushing for humanitarian pauses to get aid into Gaza and to help to get the hostages out. Prime Minister Netanyahu, at least publicly, did not appear interested in any pause.
I spoke to a young woman who got a master's degree from Stanford. She's very upset with Stanford not coming out to completely condemn what Hamas did to the Israelis. Here she is Wednesday on this program. Listen to this.
Very best friend at one point told me that she really hoped to become a suicide bomber. This is how terrorists are being made. They're not being made in some dungeon in Afghanistan. And when we see these kind of calls on campus for intifada, smash the Jew, these are calls for violence. And some people on campus came from a reality maybe similar to mine, where you are brainwashed from a very young age to hate Jews.
And that is such an important point, Ayan, because you know, her best friend, one of her best friends, wants to be a suicide bomber. Because when you grow up in certain parts of this world, you are raised to want to kill Jewish people.
Absolutely. When I joined the Muslim Brotherhood as a teenager, we were taught that the biggest enemy to Islam, they are the Jews. It's the state of Israel. We believed in it. We prayed for it. And Sophia, the student whom you just showed, she really has a point in saying people are not being radicalized in dungeons in Afghanistan. They're being radicalized in our ivory towers. Right. And some of them are radicalized and some of them are fooled because this woke revolution that's underway in universities in America has given Hamas and the allies, Islamist allies of Hamas, an opening to radicalize, to fool, and to dissemble, and to lie, and to put their cause forward. And their cause is to eradicate, to obliterate the state of Israel, and to kill Jews. Let's just state it as plainly as possible. That is what they want.
You say, ultimately, Russia needs China. So that's what links them.
Yeah, I think the Russia's war in Ukraine, their failed war, where they've spilled so much blood and treasure, has really been a force multiplier for bringing them closer to China, because they're dependent upon China to export their oil, and to Iran because they're dependent upon Iran for drones. And let's add North Korea, as Brian mentioned, to the axis of evil, because Russia needs their artillery. So we're seeing Russia in a very subservient position, a weakened position. Vladimir Putin is weaker now than he's ever been, and his regime security more perilous than it's ever been, and that's why he has to rely on the rest of the members of that axis of evil.
Let me ask you one more thing before I let you go. When you say 30 days, these 30 days are pivotal for the future of Israel. Why do you say 30 days, and what do you mean?
I mean, I just, this is going in real time, right? Every hour there's something going on. You obviously need to get the hostages out. Time is of the essence. The Israelis are moving aggressively into Gaza. Time is of the essence. The suffering, the humanitarian suffering by the Palestinians in southern Gaza also needs to be resolved. We need to get resources to them. They don't deserve to be suffering like this. They don't deserve to be killed. And consequently, that's what we need to focus on. So there's a limited amount of time. It's got to be focused on, and this is going to be an exceptionally important 30 days.